Once upon a time, in the bustling streets of Baghdad, there lived a cunning thief named Karim. Karim was known far and wide for his quick fingers and ability to slip in and out of crowded markets without anyone noticing. He had grown up on the narrow alleys and winding streets of the city, learning the art of stealth from a young age. Baghdad was a city full of life. The markets were always teeming with people, merchants shouting to sell their spices, silks, and treasures from distant lands. But among all the colors and noise, Karim saw opportunity. He had no interest in the hard work of honest labor. Instead, he took what he could, slipping through the crowd unnoticed, his fingers expertly finding their way into pockets, purses, and satchels. One day, as the sun dipped low, casting a golden hue over the city, Karim found himself in the bustling Al-Mutanabi street. This was the heart of Baghdad, lined with bookshops, perfumeries, and stalls, selling everything from jewelry to fabric. It was the perfect place for a thief like Karim to ply his trade. But that day, fate would throw him a twist. As Karim moved through the crowd, he noticed a wealthy merchant, his robes rich with intricate patterns and gold threads. The merchant was distracted, inspecting a piece of fine silk at a stall. Karim saw his chance. He glided through the crowd, slipping his hand into the merchant's pouch, where he knew gold coins were waiting to be taken. Just as his fingers closed around the pouch, he heard a voice. "Stop!" Karim froze. The voice wasn't angry, it was calm, almost knowing. He looked up and saw a young woman, her eyes sharp and piercing, watching him. She was dressed simply, but there was an air of confidence about her, something that made Karim uneasy. "You shouldn't do this," she said, her gaze never leaving his face. Karim quickly recovered, flashing a smile. "I don't know what you're talking about, lady. I was just admiring the fine silk," he said, putting his hand back at his side as if nothing had happened. But the woman wasn't fooled. She stepped closer, her eyes scanning the pouch Karim had just touched. "I've seen thieves like you before. You'll get caught one day." Karim's heart raced. He could tell this woman was no ordinary bystander. She seemed too composed, too aware. "Maybe I will," he replied, trying to keep his cool. "But not today, not while you're talking to me." The woman smiled faintly. "I think today's your chance to change, Karim." Karim laughed, though the sound didn't reach his eyes. "Change? I am who I am. A thief, and always will be." But the woman wasn't done. "You may be a thief, but you also have a skill that could be used for something better than stealing. Something that could help people, instead of taking from them." Karim raised an eyebrow. "Help people? What would a thief like me have to offer?" The woman stepped closer and lowered her voice. "There is much that can be stolen from the corrupt and greedy in this city. Gold from those who hoard it, treasures from those who exploit the poor. Why not use your talents for something good? You could take back what they've stolen from the people." Karim was taken aback. He had never thought of it that way. He was used to taking for himself, never considering that he could take from the rich and give to those who needed it. It seemed daring, dangerous, yet it sparked something in him. Something he had never felt before. Purpose. "I don't know," Karim murmured, glancing at the merchant who was now distracted with another stall. "I'm not sure I could just change overnight." The woman nodded. "No one changes overnight, but you could start small. A little act of kindness here, a bit of justice there. And when the time is right, you'll know what to do." Karim looked at her, unsure what to think, but something about her words resonated deep within him. Maybe, just maybe, there was more to life than being a thief. The next day, Karim took a step he never thought he would. He saw an old man, struggling to carry a heavy sack of grain, being pushed aside by a group of arrogant young men. Karim, usually the one who would have walked away or even joined in on the mockery, found himself stepping forward. He helped the old man carry his sack, and when the young men tried to harass him, Karim stood tall, not with threats, but with quiet confidence. Word spread quickly. People began to whisper about the thief who had helped the poor, who had stood up to the bullies. And, from that day on, Karim began to change. He used his skills for good, stealing from the corrupt, the greedy, and giving back to those in need. Over time, he became a legend in Baghdad, not just as a thief, but as a man of honor and justice. And the woman? No one ever saw her again. Some said she was a guardian angel, sent to guide Karim on his path. But, whatever she was, she had planted the seed of change in his heart. And from then on, Karim's story was one of redemption, not of theft.